Hello and welcome to a Smurd P review, and today we are looking at from Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 170 Darkest Hour continues. I can't remember how far we're into the story. Right, so this is written by Melissa Flores. This is colored by Raul Angelo with the assistance of Jose Enrique Fernandez. Illustrations by Simona de Gianfelice with Marco Renna, and letters by Ed Dukeshire. And apologies if I got any names wrong. So our story begins with invasion of Aquatar. And Rangers, no matter how faced with darkness, they will always try to fight, and they will eventually come to morph. And basically, Dark Specter no longer needs reader spells to be able to do this. Literally, whenever they infect the space, they will, once they Rangers morph, they instantly work for him. It's that simple. So how long is he going to need reader? And friction starts to begin here between the two. Be careful you don't stop serving your purpose. And then she talks to Alpha, and I'm going to say Alpha 11 because basically Alpha 1 took parts of 11's components, etc., to make themselves better. So she says, you know, being a minion isn't such a bad thing, and being ignored like this isn't such a bad thing. But just so I'm clear, I haven't forgotten my promise to you about destroying Zordon. So the Rangers soon learn about Aquatar falling, and they soon learn about the new way, which makes this even more dangerous. So if Dark Specter comes to Earth, eventually all they have to do is morph, and they lose, basically, in a nutshell. Taylor and Jason are trying to get some civilians into a good place where they can perhaps fight back using weapons. And Jason says this isn't about them becoming soldiers. This is about them being in a position where they can literally defend their homes, etc., you know. And she talks about her friends being taken over by death. He says, well, I've been taken over by death, and I'm back here, etc. So they start to do some simulations, etc. That's how I've read this bit. I'm hoping I'm not wrong. I think this is a civilians. Yeah, this is a simulation. So they're doing simulations to try and get into this thing. And, you know, considering what Jason does here in front of Balkan Skull, I'm surprised later on they don't figure out that he's a Power Ranger when he comes back as a Gold Zeo Ranger. I just thought I'd point that piece out. So the Morphin Eggs. This is the way that Phantom Ranger, Kendall, and Billy. I'm surprised I'm remembering all these names right now because there are so many characters in this book. And Torona work out a way to use the morphin energy. Rather than creating a new gate, they use it to repel Dark Specter from this area, meaning they've got a safe haven and a place to morph, which is grand. Meanwhile, this bit didn't make sense to me. So this dude from HyperForce tells Dark Spectre that in the future, Astronomer uses the Psycho Rangers to try and take you down, etc. So it just tells me that at some point there's literally going to be a mind wipe, and everybody's going to forget this event ever happened. Which I find a little bit disappointing because I didn't mind the fact that Dark Spectre was breaking through, that he's leading this attack on the Rangers, and then perhaps he fails and goes off somewhere else and starts again. I didn't mind any of that, you know. But the fact that we've sort of lost the surprise at the end, and you know, and then it starts feeling a little bit like Shattered Grid event, which was a good event. I did enjoy Carl Higgins' event. This is starting to feel a little bit like that. I'll tell you why in a minute. So The eggs are acting as a generator, and they've literally been pulled out of the wider grid, and they've got their own little morphing grid on Earth. So, guess what happens? That's right. HyperForce Rangers are sent to many planets to gather up allies. Pretty much very similar to Shadow Grid as they were heading towards that big finale. There's a big group of Rangers defending the universe, etc. We've got an older Tommy here as well. So, yeah. So, the next piece, which carries on from... they've been there's been 2 occasions before this where Dark Specter is sort of losing his frustration and patience with Rita, and Rita sort of starts taking it. But this becomes the final straw, etc. You know, she's trying to work on spells to get back into Earth, or the surrounding areas, because she can't get there right now. And he's losing his patience, and as such, he destroys Alpha 11 in front of her. You know, and he demands total allegiance. Consider this a warning. This is a warning for her. But it's also the other thing. It's the bit that says, do you know what? This isn't going to work for me. So, I'm really sorry about cutting out. I clearly didn't read this page. It didn't pop up. But it's great because actually it makes the next panel make a little bit more sense. So Billy and Phantom Ranger are talking about the Phantom Ranger's original, perhaps regret creating the arches to help his people study the Morphin Grid that led to Dark Specter's initial trying to get into this universe, etc. Whereas perhaps he was banished and closed away. We never really, I can't remember if we've been read or told about that piece, how that actually happened. But, you know, and Billy says, you know, with every step as a scientist, there is always a risk, you know. Sometimes it happens, etc. And he says, you know, my mistake was never worth the risk. However, but this leads to Ranger Slayer coming in and providing another step to fight the corruption with the Incorruptible Ranger, which is the Tiger Zord coin that does that. So, Rita decides to see Tommy. And she talks about how Draken was trying to seek redemption at some point. Scott's worried that Squat is worried that they're running out of time and they need to get out, and she's just looking for reflection. And he says redemption is always possible, and it starts with mercy, and she agrees. And that's why she no longer serves her master. So this is the turning point where Rita, or Mistress Vile, turns against her master. You know, this is sort of like the last straw of, you know, everything that she's done to give Dark Specter everything that he wants. And she will only serve her own interests quite nicely. So she's freed Tommy, and we will see what this means next issue. Meanwhile, in the next week, I'll have Power Rangers The Return review. We got Ranger Academy issue 5, I'm going to say off the top of my head, coming out in the next few days. We got X-Men as well, if you like that. I do X-Men comic reviews. So anyway, if you like my review, please support my channel by subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you to those already subscribed to my channel. You folks mean a great deal to me. Make sure you look after yourself. And as always, embrace the geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.